a lot of these people would really like to give up and they don't really have that drive.
Envy's bad. Envy's bad.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to ascend.
We kind of just threw at the end.
And just winning everything.
I'm with a better team now.
30 seconds left. Yeah, MAD, we're winning 5 versus 3.
Corner. Oh, lineup. I mean, take what like now over to the first.
And they buy themselves some time. It's Spaz that could do it.
Look how quick this one. Oh, especially now.
5 Rebellion Black, your Challengers champion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful day of Valorant Challengers North America. It's stage 2, day 2, and already on the first day, a lot of fun, a lot of shenanigans. I cannot wait to get started with you and more. Sierra Dawn, Roy, and none other than my girl, Gompers here. Gompers, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's really great to be back. It feels like a refreshing start to my year, the 2025 year. You guys probably haven't seen me in a while. It's because I was saving the world, obviously.
And now you're here to save NA Challengers. Gompers, you're so generous with your time. I love you. I mean, Roy, we got to see an awesome stage 1, a killer playoffs, but now stage 2. This is an interesting one because, of course, now we have a little bit more expectation of a couple of these teams headed into it. And already a little bit of that expectations kind of shattered yesterday with their very first match.
Yeah, there was a lot going on yesterday, that's for sure. There's some upsets, there's some roster changes, there's some role swapping going on, the new map pools kicking in. There's just so much going on. And as you can see here on the bracket, the match that we're talking about is the Ambrosia versus M80, the 2-1 upset by Ambrosia. That's really the only crazy result. Everything else was kind of in line with what we were expecting. The Envy showcase, the TSM showcase, as well as the Cuber showcase. They looked phenomenal. Of course, we kind of have an idea of what to expect from them, seeing how they performed in Split 1. Now our bars are set, our expectations are set, and I'm excited to see how these teams are going to continue developing and what level they're going to reach by the end of the Split 2.
Reminder, refresher for those with the format that we follow here in Challengers. 4 wins, you're in playoffs. Yippee! Congratulations. 4 losses and you're out. So there's a lot of lines here, a lot of numbers, but that's how we're going to be looking at this. So 4 exciting matches yesterday. Gompers going into today. 4 exciting ones here, of course. 2 that we're going to be following, and then 2 on the side streams as well. But this is fun because today we get an opportunity to see not just 1, but 2 new teams that we didn't get to see in stage 1 for Challengers with Prosperity and Nonverbal.
Yeah, honestly, with Prosperity too, such a big surprise, right? Obviously, we know that the players trying to play in, I think it was Premier, attempting to make their up into Challengers proved that they're worth it. And Prosperity managed to make it happen, which is super, super exciting that we finally get to see, a breath of fresh air. I love when new teams come in and give us something excited to look forward to. And if anything, they could be running home with a victory today as well.
I love to see that progression too, really showcasing hey, no matter what the path is, there is always a way to try and make the dreams happen. So I'm excited to see them, which is nice because we actually get to see them up first. It's going to be Winthrop University going up against Prosperity in the very first match to be starting off today. And it's cool to be able to see what this Prosperity esports team has to offer, of course, coming up through Premier. But Winthrop University was a team that their stage 1 in comparison to playoffs was so dramatically different. They're still hard to believe. And I'm curious then now heading into stage 2, well, what's next? Are we about to see just a Winthrop University masterclass on the horizon?
It's definitely possible. I mean, we saw a huge run by them towards playoffs, right? Adding an alley towards the end, right before playoffs. They went on a miracle run. They finished 3rd place, especially with teams like TSM, Envy, Cuber, so many teams. So the fact that they finished 3rd is obviously an achievement in itself. But the thing that I'm looking forward to is I'm no longer considering this team underdog. From now on, my expectations are set. They've raised the bar, and their results will be judged as so. So I'm looking forward to seeing them to play. I'm so looking forward to see how they've developed, and of course they have to integrate a new map pool to see how are the roles going to change? How have they integrated Ascent and Icebox? What's that going to look like? So I think we'll see today.
No, and I respect that statement, right? You don't think they're the underdogs anymore. 2024 season came in. We were like, I don't really know about what's going on here. You know, collegiate coming into a space that's so dominantly known for the pros, right? So, you know, there were a lot of questions of whether or not Winthrop could replicate that success. Can they do it again this year? But they've proven themselves time and time again. They've come in, they've run everybody over with their success. And not only that, they've made some changes, which is super exciting.
This Winthrop University squad, sorry, I was caught up on the, oh no, the time and time again. We're dropping it 5 minutes into the broadcast. That is everybody's time and time again for the day, by the way. That also includes Nerds and Jen. You guys are banned from it. We've used the one, okay?
Yeah.
It's always me. I always do it. I always do it.
Someone has to rip off the time and time again band-aid, Goms. It's all good. But for Winthrop University, I love that we're not looking at them as the underdogs anymore. And that was kind of something that throughout the playoffs was always the thing. They would beat these top tier teams and we would still go into the next matchup. Winthrop University are the underdogs here, and they kept going on and getting those upsets. So I think this will be really fun going into today to see. It's been a couple weeks since the playoffs, but the one up from there. And talking about individual players, if we're looking back at playoffs and just masterclasses of a performance, especially in, unfortunately, it was the lower finals in their elimination match, but throughout this entire best of 5, Moobs was just on fire. I mean, Goms, you want to talk about a step up from a player? Dude. This guy, his stats, just crazy.
Dude, it's not only that. Like, I've had the opportunity of meeting Noobs. He's not a noob, I swear. Moobs in person, right? He's such a charming person, and his gameplay is crazy. I think I remember having a conversation with him, you know, his OG roster, right? With like Nasi, Moobs, and A77. I'm talking old school guys. Like, Moobs is, they talked about how good he is under pressure, right? When the pressure's on, Moobs is on. When the game is in trouble, Moobs likes to really lock it down, and it's so evident in his gameplay. It doesn't matter whether or not you're playing Initiator, Sentinel, whatever the case may be for Moobs. It's all about making the correct callouts and being that player that's reliable for the team. And that's exactly why IGL, I don't know, fits pretty well to me, to be honest.
Yeah, the form that Moobs was displaying towards the end of playoffs, and even in their last match versus M80, I mean, he quite literally almost took them to the finish line by himself. He had a monstrous performance in that match, and I think he's been a key player for this team. He's showing a great mix of lurking, and he's had huge heroic moments. So I think the shout out here is very well deserved.
And when you're talking about that consistency and the calm under pressure, to see that really come alive there within the lower finals, I think that is just but a showcase and, I don't know, just a complete snapshot of what he was able to provide for this entire team throughout their playoffs run and everything else. So I think that was just so good to be able to see a player like that really be able to step up. Not the only one either, because, yeah, we're talking about that lower finals and his electric performance. Infiltrator here, Roy, was someone that throughout the stage is someone that we talked about a lot, even when Winthrop was not so much rooted in these winning ways. Infiltrator has always been a bright spot about the team.
Yeah, he's definitely been the most consistent performer in terms of like results, right? His stats show it. He's very flashy. He's a flexible duelist. He can play the Jet. He can play the Raze. He can play the Yoru. That's very important in the current map pool. And I think overall, he seems to be doing quite well. And what really makes him shine as well is he seems to be rifling very, very well. And he's able to pull out the op, which makes him really dangerous in the server. And he's sort of that player that you look to when you're thinking about X Factor. He's that player bringing that to the table for his team.
Yeah, I completely agree with Roy, right? Like, we've seen Infiltrator actually, like, live in action, right? Leading this team to a huge finish against I think it's Hakikimori. I don't want to say it correctly.
Yeah.
Like, with a 47 kill performance, like, Infiltrator is not someone you really want to mess around with, right? They're bringing themselves back into that star power position. And I think with the alterations they're making in terms of synergy, in terms of trying to just really rework that mid-game strategy, it's making Infiltrator shine even more, and that is absolutely gorgeous for me.
Infiltrator too, just the consistency that he has across the board, no matter what look that this team has, is incredible. And a couple of those wins, and like some of the dominant ones too, I think is this good. This is exactly the play I was thinking of. That's actually crazy timing, but he didn't get the knife. But like with such dominant plays, like being able to have that confidence through and through, Roy, I think has just been really nice for an Infiltrator. And I'm hoping we get to see that yet again today.
Absolutely. And I think for me, what I appreciate a lot about Infiltrator is the fact that he seems to have good performances no matter what caliber of teams he's playing, whether he's playing, you know, the lower end teams, whether he's playing the higher end teams. He doesn't really seem to struggle, and his confidence never waves. It's always there. He's always bringing in that ferocity, and he's always a force in the server.
And now we got to talk about the opponents that they're up against today, and a look at one of the new teams that are joining us here for Challengers Stage 2. Talk about Prosperity. This roster making their way up through Premier, so ready and capable of showing us what they got here. Gompers, I love the path to pro that we have going on here. Of course, once you get into the server with these Challengers matches, that's a whole different beast ahead of you. But I'm excited to get acquainted with these players. But one player actually quite familiar, Scary Shark, who we've gotten to see compete in Game Changers before, and honestly was just amazing there. So, I'm excited.
No, I'm excited too. I think this roster is the epitome of the fact that dreams come true through hard work and hard work ethic and a very, very positive mental, right? If you guys don't know, the storyline of how they came up is incredible, right? Like, actually, Scary Shark accidentally locked in Harbor because they came back too late because they were taking a mental reset after losing the first game, and they were the first round, sorry, and they thought, oh, whatever, like, we're not, actually, I think it was the first game out of best of 3, but they were like, oh, you know, we're not gonna win. We have Harbor now. It's over. Like, we're done. But they kept going and they won. They won 2-1, and it is like, I think that it just shows no matter what you think, no matter how bad things are getting, you can pull through with results that you didn't even think were possible. Maybe they added Harbor into the roster at this point. Like, I don't know, but that's incredible.
Dude, imagine you coming back from like a little meditation in between maps and you're like, oh crap, I'm locked Harbor. That's crazy. And for you to come back and win an OT is actually insanity. But I think the one thing about this team that we should keep in mind, and what we do know about this team, is their core has been together for quite a while. They're not completely strangers to the competitive scene. They have competed. They have a quite a decent map pool. So I think overall we're not expecting like a ragtag bunch of newcomers that are just ranked players. Like no, this is a drill team. They practice. Of course, adding in Nora will bring in that experience that they're probably lacking and a little bit of that structure. So I think overall we should be expecting a little we should be expecting something from this team. They're not complete noobs.
Yeah, I'm excited to get a little bit more acquainted here in the Challenger sphere, but already with the paperwork set out here, the groundwork, I'm excited. But let's talk a little bit more about the series ahead. As of course, we don't really have stats for them yet. That's something that, you know, after the first map, we can start to focus on a little bit more. But we do have our map picks and bans and where this series is going to be taking place. Of course, it's been a couple weeks since we've seen Winthrop University, but Lotus was one of those maps that we got to see highlighted within that little reel. We've gotten to see great comebacks, great games from Winthrop University on Lotus, so not too surprised there. And then second up, Roy, will be Ascent.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the Lotus pick coming out from Winthrop University. They've had some pretty decent results on that. 13-1 against YFP, 13-5 against Burger Boys. I think at 13-9 as well in a different tournament. But yeah, they had a close match versus M80, who finished second in the league. They had a pretty decent game versus Shopify Rebellion Black, and they seem to be running a lot of different compositions. They're pretty flexible. The thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is whether they're still running the Sova variant on this map or whether they've swapped into something completely different, because that'll definitely play a factor in this matchup.
I feel like there has to be maybe a little bit of a change, because we get to see them bring us to Lotus a lot, and there's definitely been some really strong victories, and there's also been some defeats even when they're the ones picking the map. Then again, those have also been against some of the top teams that we have here in Challengers. Do not get me wrong, like that, those are respectable losses. But still, there's a confidence here that really cannot be broken despite those losses. So I'm excited to see the look that they have today. And overall, Gomps, like, this should be a really fun series that we have ahead of us.
Yeah, I think more so fun, because now we get to build the storyline of, you know, who Prosperity is, but then also, you know, Winthrop, you're going against a team that started to elevate themselves out of the underdog position. So you're with some really, really strong composition. And not only that, they have Pearl as their last map. That is their strongest map by far that they could ever have as that in case something happens to Cider map.
The Winthrop University, this underdog to overdog, it has been a lot of fun to see. And pulling up the predictions for today, I think this might be one of the first times that we have just had a clean sweep for Winthrop University. Gompers, I've missed you because I know no matter what, you would always bet on Winthrop University. I was all by myself in the playoffs, betting on them every single time, and they kept winning, and now everyone's on board. They're just a bunch of bandwagoners.
Listen, I promised them no matter what, I would always pick them. And I can't break a promise. And not like, listen, there were times where I cooked, all right? Like I cooked. So Winthrop, they have my heart. I've given it to them. They can do whatever they please.
They were cooking. They did not let me down at all during the playoffs, let me tell you. But I mean, across the predictions, it's always a scary thing, Roy, when we all predict the same way, because first, it's not fun on the desk because then we can't really argue with each other. Second, there's always the cast occurs. I don't know, but agents are ready, so let's head on over to that. But yeah, Roy, we're definitely putting all the stocks in Winthrop today.
Listen, guys, I'm flaky. Listen, if Prosperity wins the first map or even the second map, I'm swapping. I'm jumping ship. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm not committed to anyone, but here we go. We're seeing the agent select. It is going to be a swap. It's actually a very interesting swap. They're getting off the Sova. They're bringing in the Breach, and they're swapping their Duelist for that Neon, for that extra speed. And it's Neon on both sides as well, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I'm liking. Oh, sorry, Sarah. I'm liking. No, I'm really agreeing with this composition as well. It is interesting that they're now kind of diverting from the Rays back into like the, I mean, not back, but like switching over to the Neon positioning. But I think that works well with Infiltrator, especially with the confidence now arising within the maps and them trying to fix up that synergy in terms of how the Duelist is starting to play alongside Nasi. I think this might actually work even better with the Breach and Neon composition.
I know there was lots of talks about Clove with nerves, etc. And Ali always stayed true afterwards. And then now is finally swapped off the Omen when we actually do see the Clove on the other side. So, oh, Ali let me down there. But no, I like the Infiltrator Neon. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see what Prosperity's got. So let's get to it. First map, Prosperity's Challengers debut. It's time to head on to Lotus to see what they have to offer and what Winthrop does after a couple of weeks. Time to head over to the casters. Jen and Nerds, have fun, you two.
Thanks so much, Sierra. Yeah, first match of the stage for both these teams, while Winthrop is carrying the weight of their school's legacy, reputation, and oh my God, Roy's high expectations against Prosperity, who rose from Premier, and they want to gain respect with an upset against one of the big three.
I mean, there's a lot that goes riding on this line. When I saw the predictions, honestly, 11, I was thinking to myself, is this going to be the same thing that happened yesterday, where all the predictions were in favor of one very interesting team and now it gets swapped up entirely? And hey, all jokes aside, I'm actually super excited because Moobs has, the thing that has changed for Winthrop a lot of times was that Moobs kind of lurking around, changing up their meta. They used to run the Sova. I like that they're going for the Tejo Breach. It's been super meta. It's been super honestly, it's been super consistent on Lotus. So I think this just reaffirms our beliefs more than anything. And I don't particularly want to give it to Prosperity just yet. All things considered, we do see a lot of pressure out of Winthrop University here, setting up early for Rebel control. They kind of kite them towards the C site where, look who's already set up. It's Moobs, ready and waiting.
He's just playing off his camera, playing off the initial cage, while, of course, Prosperity seem aware of this flank. And now there's kind of a crossfire built, and it's already Prosperity that exchange blows with Infiltrator getting one for the road. Now Prosperity is just gonna send their lurk of this Clove just running around B. This is gonna pull so much attention from Winthrop, and with that opening pick, it's just gonna full send the objective in that direction as Winthrop hope to emerge from the small door. Ali hoping to play off of the Tejo. Bombs just thrown in. This Prosperity still haven't planted, and now Winthrop are starting to converge. Great pick from Scary Shark. Two more on the way from Winthrop. Finally, the spike is planted, and it's just Ali. And Winthrop, we're around the corner to keep this close, but Prosperity, these opening picks from Manny have been everything.
More than just that. I mean, we saw how Winthrop did a really good job. They fought for Rubble. They kind of encapsulated Prosperity. But near the end, the fight towards B site out of Baby Door, when Nashi lost that fight, it became so difficult for Winthrop to really converge back onto the B site. B site, very good for retakes, right? You kind of pinch around all the different angles. But when you lose your anchor, when you're down in players at a disadvantage, alongside Prosperity having deep control and taking fights before the post plant, it made it very, or I would say, just impossible for Winthrop to recover there. And now they're forced down to an eco. They were a team that we expected to do really well and start off hot, but they have not done that here.
At least Prosperity are just aware, okay, Winthrop may just try this again, and Prosperity are just going to play this slow default, and that's what led them to that B site plant. It's just what picks, what seems the weakest, and Winthrop are showing face on all sides. It's a big win for Manny yet again, a 3K in the pistol round, and the anti-eco going just as well, not dropping a single body yet, and Prosperity is just getting kills from spawn.
Yeah, and that's fair. And again, right, Prosperity, they have a lot to prove here, and they're proving, at least early on, that you know, this core works really well. Nora has been popping off. She's doing well as well. Nora slotting in here. All together, though, I mean, at this point, you just, if you're Nashi, you're just looking to see if you can find a player or two, die to that spike. Prosperity getting a really good start early here also sets them up for the future, considering their buy-up is, I would say, really solid. Manny can buy up. They have 3K creds themselves. I love seeing. Give us more of that.
Just hoping to go down with the spike. Yeah, Winthrop. Okay, are they going to kind of dial things back a little bit? Because just this creep up towards spawn, they have not put too much of a dent until now from Nasi. And, you know, being able to, well, trying to shake things up from Prosperity is always nice. But Prosperity, I think, are fine playing a more reactive style against Winthrop.
And that makes sense. Being on the attack side, Lotus, they can be really slow and really inch their way into space. We did see Winthrop do pretty well in terms of, like, they wanted to fight for Rebel control. They wanted to get proactive. With the Neon, you kind of have to. But look at the other side. Prosperity's also running that Neon. They've just come from the trenches of Premier and Ranked and all that other fun stuff to make their way to VCL, to Challengers here. And they're not going to be giving that up anytime soon. Now, for the setup here in this round, it is going to be a fast exec B, it seems. They have Neon running up alongside the initiators, ready and prepared.
Wow, Prosperity just get to put the red carpet down, and 2 huge picks from Magic. And I think this is why this team wants to run the Neon. This is one of Magic's best agents, the most time on it for a reason, and Winthrop just not able to keep up, at least in these early rounds. This first rifle round from Winthrop sees very little signs of life. At least they are on the site where the spike is planted. Prosperity, though, are happy to play on the other side of the wall off their breach Yuto. And Scary Shark surely is stirring things up as Nasi wasn't able to carve around the corner and really dislodge the problem. So now it's just Noobs hoping to draw fire towards them for an exchange. But Prosperity have a really strong start.
Honestly, the fast exec towards B really works for them, and it's something I even talked about in the previous round where they bought up a good amount of weapons. Manny was on the eco weapon of a ghost. That's why they were the ones that were hunting early on, got caught off by Nashi. That doesn't matter because now they have such a good economic role against Winthrop University, who, you know, they were the favorites to win. They were the ones that came into this with high expectations, but Prosperity truly, I mean, living up to their name in terms of their not only wealth in economy, but wealth in mental rounds, whatever you want to call it here. Prosperity, speaking of, they are very close to some key ultimates in this game. And if they farm on these ecos, it'll be that much more interesting for them going forward.
Just a slow walk from Boops through his own cage while he's getting shot. Like, I'm surprised he lived through that. Wanted the early peek, Winthrop wanting early intel, and now kind of dialing things back, not knocking at the front door of the A lobby this time, and off the door opening, the Omen Paranoia thrown out from the defense, but also matched from Vantage to keep Winthrop in their place. And now that all the smokes are down, all the cards are on the table, Prosperity just get wins across the board. You cannot underestimate teams coming out of Premier. And Prosperity doing a great job. They've already faked their approach towards A, and now they're going to C.
It's empty. They're going to get it for free here. And Winthrop, right, this is going to be such a blow, right? 4-0 start here, very similar to the previous stages where they had a slow start into a faster finish across the entire stage. And they're hoping to not have that here. They're hoping to not fumble, but with Prosperity starting so strongly, you know, I don't think it's too early to say it, but I do think that there needs to be a change, a potential timeout, a potential Nashi call to really work together. We're opening things up, though, on the site. Isn't going to do much, though.
What? You did not put enough respect on Ali. What an addition. No. What a turnaround.
They had such good
the eco round. Holy cow.
I feel I'm flushed. My face is red here. What? Well, that just is going to surprise me. Their holds have been really good. The fake was well done. I guess Prosperity over aggressed. I feel like a fish out of water here.
Yeah, I mean, Ali drowned him. That's all it took. I mean, he was the one who popped off the most and came through on the, was a huge part of their success in playoffs, the last 2 weeks of groups. And it's crazy how Winthrop were able to clutch up. So now that gets them around on the board. No need for a timeout. We go into the next with Prosperity. Just seeing if Winthrop are going to do Winthrop things of challenging them early.
I have a shocked Pikachu face, but that was clean off of them. And headshots do matter in those close engagements. Winthrop proving me, I mean, I voted for them as well, but they're proving me wrong here in this moment and doing so well at that. And I'll look a lot slower out of Prosperity, even more so. Their starts have been exploratory, but now they're waiting a little bit more before that exploration starts.
Now you can have Manny who can play a lot more aggressive with that ult, and already heard some steps over at B, and Manny's been lurking a lot around that middle of the map, and that can be a good way for Prosperity to give themselves options. And now their Prosperity have kind of forced Winthrop to play a more passive style. Prosperity are going to take advantage of that map control, and now Winthrop are going to teleport over, knowing the action is already hitting at A, and you got the Taeho ult at the back, a response from Winthrop, and moves up close and personal. A big double kill to really dismantle this offense before it even gets set up. The spike is down. Prosperity, all the spaghetti's on the floor too. It's just Yuki and Manny, who still has the ult, the Clovo, in the back pocket for that extra life, and will be able, not wanting to use it, I guess, not really believing that this is winnable in the 2 versus 3, not with the time that's left. So Winthrop showing us what they can do.
Bringing it back, and something that you said that I really want to highlight here is that they're doing it before the exec starts. They're getting a little bit preemptive with it. Winthrop doing a good job now, forcing Prosperity to take that first time out in this half. They're going to be changing some of their stuff up, talking about these ultimates. Manny didn't want to pop that because of the amount of eyes that they had on them. So now Manny, he's gonna be able to hopefully use that as a good entry alongside Scary Shark, who has her ultimate. Generally though, because they've had 3 rounds in a row that they've won, they're gonna be pretty comfortable with this buy up. It's just more of how are we going to readjust against this new and aggressive Winthrop University that has been able to beat us on our retakes. Not only to mention the fact that Ollie is now definitely, I would say, refreshed, hyped up after that beautiful round that they managed to swing in their favor on a Thrifty.
Yeah, that Thrifty has to hurt your brain, because I'm sure Prosperity are coming in like they really have to prove something. These are not the level of teams they're used to facing, and they're really shaking things up. Winthrop getting their first round on a Thrifty and are now on a 2-round win streak, forcing Prosperity to take a step back. And again, how can you really enable Manny? Manny has to just be relentless, go in with the ult, see what they can do. Rolling Thunder if you want it to be a little bit easier, but the way Winthrop are setting at the barrier, my eyes are on Infiltrator. They're gonna keep cooking. And he's cooking up a couple of kills, I guess. It's just with Flare by his side, too. I didn't think they were just going to immediately slide into Prosperity. That didn't work out in the past. And Winthrop just keep changing up how aggressive they want to be, how much they want Prosperity to work for that map control. What a clean round from Winthrop.
Good. Oh my gosh. They just fought into the spawns. And you can even see they had people set up towards B. They had people set up towards C. I was half expecting them to go a little slower than that, but the speed at which they did it just proves that Winthrop is not out of it just yet. Like, they have the ferocity, whatever. I think Roy was saying ferocity, and it's here. It's proven by a round like this. In the replay, we see it. Even while they're stunned up, the entire squad's working together in such a clean way, and it forces Prosperity down to an eco. Wow. They're just doing it again.
Oh, Infiltrator's got the ult out. He's ready to zap. And Vantic is gonna be hiding in the smoke. But guess what? Infiltrator also has a shotgun. Now the jig is up. The Rolling Thunder is thrown from Scary Shark. And geez, just the overdrive double kill exchange. Ali, he is the X factor for Winthrop that keeps this close. With Vantic just looking away at the worst time. Nasi will get a good backstab and even gets two for the road, leaving this in a 1v1 moves versus Manny.
And they went for a fast exit out of C Mound again for a really quick play to try and trap them in. And just good read out of Prosperity, even more so to be like, okay, they might try it again. Let's kind of group up towards A, bounce back against them. But again, the weapons were there. The players were just as quickly found. And now, because of Nasi, they got it down to that 1v1. This trip breaking gives all the information for the rotate. The Spike's going to go down regardless, and slow crawl coming through here. Moobs needs to be that X factor to continue the Winthrop roll.
All depends if Manny wants to be proactive with this. Just playing from tree, playing as safe as they can, because sometimes you can extend out of the site and try to play in a way to surprise your opponent before they really know you're set up. Now he's playing off the tap with a spike and a strike from behind. Manny will give Prosperity the lead back.
Hi. Some recovery in this game. Some good tit for tat. And I mean, they invested in ultimate, the Rolling Thunder. They invested Magic's ultimate as well, the overdrive. So now it's a little bit lackluster for Prosperity. The reason I say that is because there's an Armageddon on the flip side available here. Not to mention the counter overdrive for both these teams. It's interesting to see, though, at this crunch, Nasi was truly the player to bring them back. Getting two there in that position, it felt like a one and done. But the fact that they got two is really what allowed Winthrop to be back into it.
Oh. Watch this. If Winthrop goes through the B door, Rolling Thunder is going to be from behind, and Nasi is not even going to wait for the door to open. Throws the ult out for a Scary Shark in the corner. Prosperity just farmed them off of their own ultimate. Prosperity defend even better than they attack sometimes. And speaking of that, they got the spike planted, and it's all up to Ali, and he was instrumental when it came to that thrifty win from Winthrop at the very same site. Now he has to cross through smoke. Maybe he has the element of surprise because Prosperity is looking at every type of angle, and even the teleporter Vantic tried to be cute with it, or Ali tried to be cute with it. The 2-for-1 is a great effort, though.
Now Prosperity find the double. They're going to force Winthrop down to bare none. I mean, honestly, it feels like bare knuckle boxing between these two teams where they're just going at it. They're entering fast. They're playing even faster. Now that we have some ultimates out of commission, hopefully it'll slow down a little bit like we saw at the beginning. But regardless, something that I really want to highlight on Prosperity is the fact that they're able to recollect in moments of chaos, that Winthrop starts to swing the momentum back in their favor, but Prosperity is able to cool it off.
Prosperity have played this clove so many times, and Manny always gets value. Goes down there, able to pop the ult, but still is going to go for the re-challenge when the rest of Prosperity were leaving, hoping to dodge the paranoia out of Ali. So, and he doesn't want to overcook either, but hey, at least it was an opening. Prosperity have equal numbers. They're headed over to C.
Going to be equal numbers retake, which last time I was saying it, right? The last time on this C side, I was doubting Winthrop, but now it's weapons, it's guns, it's players, and you have two initiators up for Winthrop for the retake.
Amy Shard, she's just been so pivotal at the setups for her team, whether to deny the Rolling Thunder last round to a fantastic fault line to set up Prosperity in this round for a good post plan.
And Prosperity playing further up this time because of the weapons, being a bit more controlling of the site to prevent that retake, to stall it out ahead of time, shows the change of pace from that thrifty that we saw round 4. So they're getting a lot better and cleaner at it. I think Manny going for this is honestly, I'm going to say it's beautiful. It gives them a lot of info. Obviously, it does stress out the fact that you don't have smokes going into it, but it's Lotus, so kind of walk up towards the C site that's empty.
Oh my god, just the immediate emergence from Magic. The 1v1 against Infiltrator to take down one of the best duelists that we have in Challengers, a top performer statistically. I think it's a statement to make. And Magic, this Neon is his bread and butter, and almost forcing Winthrop off of their game to try and match the pace. And Prosperity are really surprising us. It's not an insane lead, but it's one that is going to keep Winthrop humble as Prosperity. We're hoping to beat Winthrop to see, and Nasi couldn't put a dent into those forces, leaving Flare in a 1v5 retake. It's just not going to happen. Oh. Wait. Okay, I didn't want to jinx it like we did last time.
Listen, if I had a moment like that too. So to be fair, we have seen some moments of brilliance out of these Winthrop players, and it's totally valid to believe it. But at the end of the day, all is right in the Valorant world. The eco does not get carried over. The one thing that is interesting is that the 2 players that were left alive were the players with the weaponry. So in my mind, I was like, maybe they come back, honestly, because didn't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, the huge eco frags here for Flare as well, picking up their ultimate. That Armageddon being online for the defensive side is huge to deny post plans. Brawl, though, is going to get stalled out of B, forces them back. They're going to use that ultimate?
They thought that Prosperity are more forward than they are, and not going to get much out of that, forcing them back. And yeah, Flare, I mean, Prosperity just don't respect this Tejo. I mean, look at the way that Magic got first blood. They were just in the middle of Tejo salvos all over. So Prosperity will keep things slow, and this has been what's worked out for them before. But Ellie will have to teleport out to avoid the drone. And Moves is also swapped over to a C hold to play alongside that breach. It'll just be up to Ali to go for at least the 1. How many is he good for, though?
They're going to be holding on to the C site a lot stronger because of how good Prosperity has been able to hold the C site post-plant. Ollie's just waiting here for the exec.
Oh, Paranoia out. Reaction from Infiltrator not immediate as Prosperity are going to teleport forward. They just don't respect this util out of Winthrop, and they will force Winthrop to cower on the other side of smokes as the Paranoia from Vantic was thrown out. And it's an exchange as Prosperity are still looking for targets. The smokes dividing both teams as the numbers are equal with Prosperity. It's just okay to play time, but now there's 12 seconds left and Magic has to make a move. Doesn't get the win. 8 seconds for the spike to be planted. And Yuki thinks all the util is gone. Gives him a moment to breathe. But Ali and Nasi have exhausted everything just to prevent that spike from getting planted. But Ali and Nasi will converge from both angles and walk it through the smoke. Ali does not care. He has to lead with confidence. And Yuki hopes to put a stop to that. And Ali wins it again for Winthrop.
Ooh, hard drop moment there near the end. I just want to give huge credit to Winthrop, especially to Ollie, who stayed on site, played that sort of angle. They were waiting for the exec to have the Paranoia to stall it out as much as possible, so they could have those rotates coming through. Stall was the name of the game, and it worked, especially in this meta with how Prosperity has been playing it. We saw all that chaos falling on top of Ollie, and he still managed to stay alive in those crucial moments, even with all of the fire being traded back and forth. More than that, Ollie creeping up through the smoke here was instrumental in allowing Winthrop to just win this. And that double swing. Now Ollie's got the defuse, and they've got themselves a 4th round here.
Oh my god, Ali's gonna do it again, but will he be able to teleport out? He actually gets away with 2, and he's still gonna stand there and almost gets the solo ace. Ali, what did they feed you this morning? A flawless for Winthrop.
I mean, that's gotta give you so much confidence here. Ollie is truly the unexpected player of the game because they are now 18-7 in the server, and not to be a kill count, Kathy, but that is crazy. From the Thrifty we saw previously on round 4 to a near ace here on round 12. And look at the confidence, just being able to stick in this position. Infiltrator coming in near the end for support of fire.
Yeah, what the heck?
Stealing the ace.
It's kind of crazy.
But it's going to set them up here for this pistol, give them a lot of confidence going forward. They might be down here, but if they could, obviously they pick up the pistol, that's 2 rounds up. The deficit is no more, and it builds them into this attack side Lotus.
And Manny, knife out. Just hoping to just get information. That cage kind of blocked things off, and now Manny has been caught by some util, fades into the waterfall. And is very thankful for the offensive smoke there, but now has been locked out of the party. Is Winthrop even going to extend out of the site? Infiltrator has to have a bigger impact. And he's already got pushed back by util, and Manny, that hiding spot has been discovered, and Yuki is not even going to try and trade off of this. Finally does, but now the numbers from Winthrop will trade it back in their favor. Now here's the retake from Prosperity. They're set up and now giving bear hugs to the offense here. It's not going to work out. Winthrop with the pistol.
Winthrop showing some of that firepower that they have been known for super consistently here. And like I said, you pick up the pistol, you get yourself that second round bonus buy up, you get the 7-7. It's going to be an even game. Makes things spicy here, especially on their map pick. It matters. And Winthrop, right, they have such a good synergy altogether. You have Ollie coming in as that second frag coming in on the entry. Infiltrator just fully being the martyr for the cause of like, I'm going straight in here. I am going to distract, and allow Ollie and the rest of the squad to follow around me. And even then, Infiltrator's still able to get so many kills and pick up players on those first bloods and those first engagements. So with that, you have Lotus, a map that's really exec heavy. It's a recipe for success for Winthrop. I can see why they picked it and why they have so much confidence on the second half.
And the delayed salvos from Yuki. Winthrop just playing hopscotch around it. Very slow map control grind as Winthrop have their bases covered with trips, and they'll be able to spot this flank. And this will be the go sign for Winthrop, depending on what numbers they can read in their own spawn, to get a move on, to get the spike planted. But who can emerge out of the smoke too is Yuki, which is kind of is staying put right now. And Moves is keeping this flank in check. He's able to call numbers, and Winthrop now have their backs turned. They have to worry about Prosperity coming up from behind, and Yuki picks the timing so well. And now Winthrop have a lot of fires to address. One fire extinguisher, and it's Flare. For now, it's about just protecting the spike with what you have left. And Prosperity able to even pick up a Guardian off of that is awesome for Scary Shark, but is not getting the long distance fight she was hoping for.
I was expecting to back up for a second, but no, they're going back in.
I was wondering if they wanted to just go down with it, but Scary Shark thinks it's winnable. It's going to send Yuki with the pistol up first. Scary Shark to clean up. A 1v1. Spike ticking down. An Infiltrator is just not going to be found. Scary Shark just did not play that fast enough, but hey, all good. No, I can't even get the old orb.
No,
but hey, 7-7.
That's huge. That's huge for Prosperity. No guns carried over. They bought straight up into it, and they leave with 0. Now they either buy to empty here. Like, look, they have no economy. You know, we have some players that didn't buy up specifically in these cases of scenario, but you have such a good stall out of Prosperity to keep them trapped in on the site. Not only that, but Scary finding a double is going to be really good for them in terms of the ultimate economy and also just straight confidence going into it. Because now Prosperity have a full buy up to a Bucky, 2 rifles.
It was awkward because like 2 people from Winthrop just had pistols and didn't buy anything. So Magic with a big 2 to open things up. It's going to have Winthrop feeling a little awkward, all depending on what Moves can accomplish here. But in a 1 versus 2 with a Sheriff, this is going to be a tough challenge. So Moves has to play the mind games, and that's now going to recruit more people to try and overpower Prosperity on the right side of the map. Now this Tejo drone from Prosperity. They're getting information. No one is home. And look how much respect Prosperity are giving, just hoping to keep Scary Shark alive and well. to have part of this retake.
I feel like, again, Prosperity, you have your initiators up for the retake. You still have two very aggressive controllers online that can really be that entry, like straight up. Obviously, you know, Manny does not have that ultimate up this early in the game, but it's still really huge for them. Spread on the site holds works really well for them, and now Manny knows that they're hitting the C site.
Got the Tejo drone left this late, so nobody to worry about except who could be just at the very back. Now Manny is going to shift things up, and you got the Tejo drones and a fault line. That's why Scary Shark played her life, and look how valuable it is to have Yuki and Scary Shark still here. 7 seconds. Flare with a big pick, but you need time, you need space, you need a spike plan, and there's no time. Flare has to go for a 1v2 kill now, but it's just hoping to keep the Vandal instead. Winthrop really trying to minimize risks, and they'll drop the round as a result.
And it's crazy because we've had 2 back-to-back rounds where economy and the damage that has been dealt from the losing team has been really impactful, surprisingly, because Prosperity lost so much in terms of player count. Now, that is supplemented by the fact that they picked up a round that they needed to pick up, as well as carrying 2 rifles over. That being said, though, Winthrop went into this with 2 rifles, and now they have full weaponry. They have an Armageddon on Flare. They have so much to set up for success for these coming rounds.
Oh my god, just so much early util. The Tejo drones from Prosperity. Now the smoke up close too, and this will keep Winthrop in position. But what I'm wondering is how much Manny wants to test out Mound and to push throughout that. We're just going to focus down that line of sight with the Guardian. Winthrop need to work through this map control. They're just going to wait for the smokes to expire, see what the Tejo drone is going to find, and the fault line as a result, as Prosperity turned away to shoot the drone. They get caught by a wave of Winthrop util, but Prosperity just have numbers in the angles and cover to play off of. Not the same advantage that Winthrop have, and the spike is down, and this round is pretty over, depending on if Moobs can work his way around in a 1v3.
Yeah, I mean, there is an isolate though, but the timings here for Scary are huge, and now that they have info, it's pretty locked in. The thing for me that's kind of surprising is that Vantic was spotted by the drone, if I'm not mistaken. Vantic shot at the drone, so they had at least some read, and unfortunately just wasn't caught off on that angle towards Rubble. And because of that, they kind of just got collapsed upon towards A. Moves. Okay. Finds one, but it's a trade. Still really solid. These rounds are getting close. And speaking of that early util that we see to fight out in space, it's just a matter of the compositions that we've been seeing out of Valorant to begin with. They fight out towards control, whether it's Mound or whether it's A, and it allows either you fight into it if you're on the attacking side, if Winthrop is like, okay, we're going to try and fight and break through it with our own utility, or you just get kited into a different angle. And looking at this replay, it'll truly see, right? Infiltrator is just not clearing Vantic here. Even though they dropped so much utility, that one really important angle kind of cost them a lot because you just get collapsed upon by the rest of the Prosperity roster.
And that's the beauty of maybe having a Clove in your lineup, just that extra layer of smokes, where that's why Prosperity don't play that Sentinel and moves relegated back to a Sheriff. And he's had a monster performance in playoffs. Roy talked at length about how he will around in his favor, in his team's favor, single-handedly sometimes. And you have Winthrop with just a 2-1-2 split, crossing the smoke. Her moves, and Nasi really feeling this. They got a flash to play off of too, but a crossfire from Prosperity. And Ali could be opening the door in Tree, which could force a focus split from Prosperity, and now a rolling thunder from the defense. Winthrop haven't dropped anyone. And Winthrop are just launching all these threats as best as they can in these isolated scenarios, but Prosperity had time to take angles once they realized where Winthrop were. Now the spike is down at an awkward spot once again, and it's just Nasi left.
30 seconds left.
In a spot where he's already pushed off by drones. This is just not going to be possible with the guns that they had. Prosperity are having really good reads.
Yeah, I think that ultimate though as well is just to secure the round. They see the group, they can feel the group up. They stay towards A. They've just been keeping their positions. There wasn't a lot of util being dumped in anywhere, and you put up a smoke. You've cleared out other areas of the map, so they have to be there. It is also an eco to keep in mind, so the stakes of the round were kind of already in favor of Prosperity, but with how Winthrop has been playing and how close they've been getting in those ecos, it starts to add another layer. Oh my gosh.
What the heck? Okay, Magic's doing his infiltrator impression from that overdraft we saw in the last half. And now the race is on, and Winthrop got to tie up their shoelaces and get it going all the way to A. And Manny's not even gonna really try to contest this.
Target.
Yeah, he's just gonna hope to pinch at the right time as Flair has to cut them off, and at least it's good for one. Being able to deny Magic too is always great, and now punishing Winthrop for overextending, and the numbers were limited, and this flank was activated. Winthrop needed to watch their backs, not keep looking forward. Now Nasi has to do it all and can't do enough. This will be Prosperity getting up to 11.
Oh man, 11 up. Got the 3 deficit. I like that they played for a pinch towards spawn out of B and C immediately off the rip, leaving A for retake. Their A retakes have been pretty solid, so it's nothing too crazy. Their A holds have been even better, so they're not super worried about it. I think the call that you said, like, oh, it's a infiltrator impression, so true, because that's kind of how Lotus is playing. Like, just get aggro out of it. And both of these teams have such a similar composition that it makes sense. I think Prosperity, though, because they have, like you said, no Sentinel, and on the defensive side, they need a fight here. For Winthrop, if they could break that fight at some point, I feel like that's when their ticket to success gets punched, but they just have not been able to find that.
Well, Manny wants to fight for sure, just being aggressive off of Mound, and Moops has to cut it off, and he's been such an important anchor for Winthrop in the past, while the rest of Winthrop just carving out, trying to do as much damage as they can early to make their post plan as easy as possible. What a great swing from Ali, even with the assistance of Infiltrator if needed. Winthrop are extending out of the site, and this time in a more calculated way, and one that has unity to it, with help on all sides, and Prosperity of Scary Shark on the other side, hoping to maybe flash in, but Prosperity don't want to waste any time. It's now an Armageddon from Flair to just evict these unfriendly neighbors of Prosperity, and through all the chaos, Winthrop are thriving. And it's even a Rolling Thunder invested as well from Nasi, giving them the thrifty.
Let's go! They fought towards sight! They just straight ran into it, and that's kind of what I expected of Winthrop through a lot of these rounds. If they have a slower start where they're kind of trading utility back and forth, it's always a lot scarier for Winthrop, it seems. But I think because it was an eco, Winthrop was like, let's just send it B. And that was such a good call in the moment, as well as this. I think it's really funny, the interaction there with the Bucky in hand, kiting Magic, like pushing Magic away. It's like, oh, I don't want to peek this. And in the moment, Magic's not like fully cognizant of where the Armageddon is. So they're doing it again.
Not even with the overdrive. Who cares? It's such a beautiful paranoia to set that all up. Prosperity is coming in with great set plans, and it's set Winthrop back only down 2 members, but the advantage gone for Winthrop.
And I just love that, like, they were like, okay, Winthrop might get aggro here. Let's just fight out, see like we have been. It's been successful. We can do it again. And it works. Prosperity has the solid read. Moobs is now going to be swayed away from this lurk.
Drone going out.
And Winthrop went away from their overdrive. Still some presence on the left side of the map. They got that neural theft. Important for Moobs to realize this site is weak. There is only one. And now with that extra ping, they can maybe get even more frantic. And Infiltrator just gets caught by Vantic. And Prosperity will be cut off from the spike. Moves and Nasi have to play time. Not a lot of util available. And when they're split up, they can't even play off of each other. So Prosperity are just going to flood in and take care of Nasi any second now. And it could be a problem at times. But this will put Prosperity up to match point. One map away from a big upset against Winthrop.
Honestly, though, I'm very happy for Prosperity, so genuinely, because it's been some exceptional calling out of Vantic, some really solid reads, like stacking Mound there. You know, they entered B. We've done this exec in the past. It's worked. You lose Magic 4-2. It's a 1-for-2 trade. That's fine. You have full info on the rest of the team here. And now Winthrop, they're like forced down to the wire. I'm surprised we haven't seen them take a pause or something to recollect themselves. Winthrop, though, setting up for success. They have, you know, Infiltrator has their ultimate. They're on attack. Are they going to infiltrate in? Are they going to push into it? Hopefully. They don't. They're just falling back. Not getting aggro. What?
Too. Yeah. Manny is at least going to scale up slowly. And Winthrop, always droning up first, seeing what it gets, and could be into B, but they need to take care of Prosperity early if they want to plan on B. And Infiltrator's quick with the trade, but this ult's gonna be used in the middle of the smoke, and Manny overcooks sometimes with these, but this is a big opening for Winthrop to get the spike pointed at C. Gotta worry about that B door that was just opened, but Prosperity didn't get sight lines until Scary Shark and friends are cutting through on Waterfall. This is a dangerous spot for Winthrop. They managed to still get the plan off, and look, there's already some presence from Prosperity, maybe not fully synced up, as Scary Shark was just coming out of the B door, and now no util, a 1v3, and to push into this site at this moment is going to be so difficult.
Save angle here for Scary Shark. Just find some picks on the exit and keep your weapon alive. Winthrop was Winthrop was playing slow there because they were worried Prosperity was going to go for another fast exec out of C or fast exec somewhere else and really try and trap them and spawn. BC splits with no A main control. Totally fine in most cases, and they were worried that that's something that would happen, but Prosperity instead went for the rubble control play, and that initial fight didn't go in their favor. But at the end of it, Winthrop's just making it close. I like Scary Shark just being scared in a corner, living up to, I guess, their name. But they have to be the shark that's scared. They're the ones that need to bite against the enemy team. And Prosperity being forced to a timeout now. Prosperity has used both of their timeouts here. And honestly, that's fair to close up the map, maybe reset some mentals, talk about how they're going to be using some of these ultimates. Specifically, the Armageddon is something to really highlight as, like, this could be a round-winning ultimate for Prosperity. Maybe give some confidence and some... I don't know, their calling has been really good, so I think they've already been confident. I think it's just a little bit of a mental check and lock in.
Yeah, I think the timing of this Armageddon is probably what's being discussed, along with the buy, because I think their economy is a little whack right now, but you could always Armageddon early. Like, as soon as you see them coming out of a lobby, we kind of saw a lot of chaos over at that, or as soon as the offense gets set up on a site, you can just evict them using that Armageddon. So this ult is going to be very important for the win condition of Prosperity. And this buy settles with just 2 hero rifles, and okay, more being bought. Prosperity just 1 round away, but Winthrop are in their shadow.
The win con for Winthrop is just to, like, avoid that Armageddon, deny Magic picking up, or Scary Shark picking up their ultimate as well, and really just focus on their own game here. But more importantly in that post plan is if you have, like, if they take Yuki down, that's pretty much the round, right? They can pick it up from there. They don't have to worry about that post plan.
Annie in the same spot as before. Winthrop just having to be aware of either Magic or Manny have been ones that have popped out and really surprised at Mound. And there is the paranoia from Prosperity, the immediate slide out, but almost cut off by their own wall. And maybe that was Infiltrator's wall. Yeah, it was Infiltrator's. And look, as soon as that goes down, you give a sense of security to Prosperity. It's just a chess match. It's a waiting game for Infiltrator. And it pays off as now Prosperity quick to rotate, knowing that Winthrop have probably faked C, so they hope to reinforce B and A. And Prosperity didn't get the right read on this. They're all over A, and Winthrop have already planted B. So now Prosperity have to catch up, and not having the numbers they would hope for, it's gonna be tough.
Love the plan to plant B here. So solid out of them because they can go a lot faster and trip up Prosperity.
Missiles away.
Prosperity was hoping to cause some movement with the salvos, and then they just flood in as a team, but Flare at this corner just kills both, and now 3. Okay, Winthrop are still in this.
They're making it spicy. OT first map of the day? Ooh, I don't want to call it just yet here. But Winthrop has all of the pieces to success. If it's a chess puzzle, then I mean, they've got themselves beyond the board. The whole picture has been painted and they're starting to move these pieces around. I mean, they have ultimates of their own. The Armageddon that we talked about is now on both sides, as well as an overdrive for Infiltrator, who has been really good at being aggressive. Ollie on that second entry. I mean, all together here, they're doing such a good job. On top of that, Prosperity's now down to an eco, so it should be 11-12 by the theory of Valorant, but we've seen a lot of chaos unfold here. Let's just see how this A main push runs through.
I was waiting to see if the overdrive is going to be used. No, just the one and done magic is good for it. And that, well, okay, just lucky the aftershock there. Okay, I'm down, but Winthrop are going to waste no time. Taking advantage of the map control that they do have, which is to follow up with Ali. Teho drone in. B will be clear. This is maybe to play the mind games as Winthrop pivot over to C, and Manny has already peaked this. Now down to not a lot of HP, but overhealed and doing what they can. Manny is always the most confident player on Prosperity, but not wanting to go into an overtime situation, not against Winthrop, not against a team who have clutched these overtimes in playoffs before. But the weaponry that Prosperity have, gotta hope that they can drop some of Winthrop. Take advantage of this. No, Nazi with the catch-up, chasing down Vantic. Leaves Scary Shark, Yuki, and Manny in a bad spot, deciding if they want to go for the Rolling Thunder to break in, or if they just want to wait out this Armageddon first. Now it's the Rolling Thunder. Now it's the Armageddon for the retake. Prosperity flood in. It's a 1-for-1. A 2v2 to end this for Prosperity. And now just being able to limit the angles that you need to check using the smoke. One step at a time. Prosperity about to get caught. Flare and Ali with the high-low. Taking care of Prosperity. 11-12.
And that was such a gamble to use those two ultimates, and even worse than the gamble, it hit Manny. If we see, we're probably going to see it in the replay, and I'll point it out, but Manny was hit by the Rolling Thunder, meaning that the speed of the retake was stunted by the fact that Manny couldn't collapse upon the site. So now you have a disjointed push out of Prosperity. They couldn't get into it. I was sitting on the edge of my seat thinking to myself, are they going to do it? Are they going to turn the tides? But no, statistics are statistics for a reason, and we do see the eco falling in favor. Now it was close, and now we're going to be seeing Manny unfortunately meet their demise again. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a full buy. They have one more shot to prevent overtime.
Already a 4 versus 4.
Cage triggered.
Not too away from the neural theft, and Winthrop scaling. Not too slow, not too fast, just right. But wait, moves. Just going to cut off these rotations. Already heard them sprinting on the other side. And could get a catch. One, Manny! What a flick! But Infiltrator always there for the trade. Winthrop support each other, but not their backs. Scary Shark with a good backstab from the staircase, dropping the spike. This is disastrous. And Winthrop had all their cards, all their ducks in a row. And what a mistake. Leaving staircase unsmoked, unchecked. And that's all she wrote for Lotus. Prosperity take map 1.
It is just one small little step upstairs and it crumbles. And they brought it down so close. They brought it down so close. But at the end of the day, Prosperity is going to edge out the victory here on Winthrop's map pick. 11-13 all in all. That is such a good look for Prosperity going into this. All of the people on, in the chat, on Twitter, everywhere are like, they looked at the Preds. We saw that. And it seems like Prosperity has proven it here. They are truly living up to that Premier dream of going from Premier and ranked and really grinding it out here, because that was beautiful. That was beautiful on every front.
Yeah, and the advantage that Prosperity have is that they've been a core for so long, like ever since the Dexterity Gaming days. Like, they've been around the scene. They have so much time together, and they're hoping to gain respect of the community along other teams that came from Premier, like Nightblood, like Blue Water, and they had a lot of success. And Prosperity already taking a map from one of the big 3 says a lot. They're just a well-drilled team. Prosperity got close near the end, but just being able to force mistakes and to punish mistakes out of Winthrop is what says a lot. And you know, that was Winthrop's map pick, but that's also Prosperity's most played map and their highest success rate in the past month. So Prosperity definitely shaking up some trees over in the Winthrop camp, but after this break, we'll find out what the desk thinks. So we'll see you there.